who recommends journaling to everyone. Whenever my friend tells me that they are anxious, journaling. If somebody tells me they are overwhelmed, journaling. And this is not to say that I have my life under control, because I definitely don't. But if I didn't journal, I'm scared to even think how my life would be, because journaling keeps me in some kind of routine and keeps my brain in order. So in this video I will go through how I got into journaling, then my journaling techniques, how I usually journal, then my monthly reset that I do in the beginning of every month, and then some journaling prompts that have helped me. If you hear any background noise, by the way, it is either Matti coughing his lungs out because he's sick, or it's my tortoise, Taavetti, who was in the background. So sorry about that. The star of the show, of course, is the journal. This year's journal is a bit random. I got this from my mom like a year ago, and I just thought that I would use it. It is a Harry Potter journal, and I'm obsessed with Harry Potter, so what can I say? Usually though, I use these Leuchtturm journals. I love these, they are hardbacks, and after I have used them, I can label them. So I find this very satisfying. I prefer my journals to have dots rather than lines. I have quite small handwriting, and the thing with this one is that the lines are quite wide, which I don't like so much. Also, dots give you more freedom, because I also sometimes draw in my journals and like do other things, not just writing. So dots are the way to go for me personally. I write with a pen rather than a pencil. I just find it satisfying. I started journaling as a kid. I think most kids journal like this at first, like just writing everything that happened during that day. And that is not necessarily what I do now. I focus much more on what I'm feeling rather than what happened. But I kind of stopped journaling as a teenager. I just found that after writing something, it was so embarrassing to reread it that I had to like throw it to the trash and destroy it so that anyone couldn't read it. Also, if you grew up with siblings, you might be traumatized because they secretly read your journal and made fun of you. So I understand if you feel that way. But now as an adult, there is probably, at least I hope, there isn't that kind of threat that somebody's gonna read your journal, so I can write more openly. When I started journaling again as an adult, it used to be quite sporadic. I didn't quite know how to journal because I had only heard people journaling really like in a cool way with a bullet journal. So I did have a few bullet journals, but I just found those to be very high maintenance, and I couldn't be bothered to actually use them. I got too perfectionist over them. Then I finally found out what works for me. So I guess my first tip for you is to try out different things and just, you will see what works for you. It doesn't have to look cool. Like, my journals are not aesthetic at all, as you'll see soon. So these past few years I really got into journaling, and in 2021 and 2022 I journaled almost every day. This year, 2023, my life has been absolutely crazy. Like, I have loved this year, but I've been traveling so much. I have never traveled this much in a year, that my life has lacked routine, which I find really exhilarating in one hand, but then on the other hand, I haven't had a routine, which also meant that I found it quite hard to journal daily or even weekly. We are losing light fast today, so let's get into the techniques that I use. So the first one, my normal style of journaling, the one that I use the most, is basically just flow of consciousness. So I usually journal in the morning. I try to sit down almost every morning with a cup of coffee, and then I just put pen to paper. And if you just don't know what to write, if your mind is completely blank, I have a few tips for you. First of all, I usually just start with good morning, And already when you start with something, things will start to bubble up usually. If nothing comes up, I will look outside and maybe describe the weather, quite boring, but things also come out of that. I always focus on my feelings. There's a lot of feelings going on, so I just like to make kind of sense of those. And even if I don't really find a conclusion of like why I'm feeling like something, at least I focus on it. Because I think the problem in our society or in our everyday lives is usually that we overlook our feelings. We are constantly on the go, so we don't even know like how are we feeling today. And this is why journaling has been so impactful for me, because I every day put pen to paper and I write how I feel. Do I feel happy today? Do I feel sad? Do I feel anxious, angry? It's really important to acknowledge how you are feeling inside. So flow of consciousness is just what it is. It's whatever is going on in your consciousness. And sometimes when I'm just writing whatever comes into my mind, I find myself going into creative writing. So sometimes the writing expands out of what is happening to me and how I'm feeling, and I start to just kind of write a story, which is also another thing that I really love about journaling. I have always loved writing stories, but as an adult I find it really difficult to sit down and write a story. Like if I try to do that, my mind is completely empty. But if I just start by writing whatever, it can turn into a story easier. If you know, do you know what I'm saying? It's like you are not expecting it to happen, but it might happen. I usually write in mix of English and Finnish. I guess this is because most of the content I consume is in English, so that's why my brain sometimes just wants to write in English, but most of my flow of consciousness is in Finnish for sure. My mother tongue, obviously. This is just an example how my journals look. This is like nothing. Here are no secrets. As you can see, my journals are not aesthetic, as I said. It's just very like speed writing for me. I don't focus on my writing to look nice. It doesn't even have to be comprehensible to me. It definitely doesn't have to be comprehensible to somebody else, because obviously I'm the only person who should be reading this. But sometimes I can't even read back to my own writing because I've written so fast. And some people keep journals to look back on some memories, and I definitely do that as well. Like I have some memories written in here, but mostly journaling for me is processing feelings, so I don't necessarily have to be able to read these. I think my handwriting gets worse and worse through the years. The thing with journaling as well is that I don't always feel like writing, and sometimes I still force myself to write something because I find it a good habit to have, and as I said, to acknowledge my feelings. But I find that I write more when I'm not feeling good, and when I'm feeling very happy I don't feel the need to write as much. Let's go through my monthly reset. So this is a habit that I have done now for a few years, and I find it super helpful. In the beginning of each month I try to write this reset. It takes a bit more time than my usual journaling session. Today we can do the reset together because it is the start of December. First thing I always do is I look at the month that has passed. So I reflect on November. First thing I write is best of, and in this section I will list as many good memories that I had in that month. It can be moments or big events, and this is a nice way of looking back to, especially in the end of the year. You can look back to each month and just remember what you have been doing, because it's really hard sometimes to remember. In this part I use my phone and I look at the pictures I've taken during that month. That way I also remember what was good, and then I also look at my calendar on my phone and see like what events I have put there, or like who I have been hanging out with and stuff like this. And I write everything down, and it's a really positive way to like end a month. Next I write achievements. This can as well be as big or as small as possible. Sometimes I run half marathon like I did in October. Sometimes I write. I still went outside even though I was feeling really bad. Next thing, I write new things. So this means new things that I tried each month, because I am trying, my goal is to try new things as often as possible. So here I can see, did I achieve that? The last section is let go. Here I will just list things that I don't want to do anymore. It can be less social media, which I write almost every month, or it can be complaining, just stuff that doesn't serve you anymore. When we are done with that, we look into this month ahead. So December intentions, 3 goals. I write 3 because in my mind it's very hard to prioritize things, and I want to do everything at once and then I end up doing nothing at all. So when I write 3 goals, I really need to think what is actually important this coming month, keeping my focus in those 3 things. For December, I will write in the first one a minimum amount of work I want to do every day. I work as a freelancer, writing for an online store, so for me there's sometimes more work and sometimes less. In December there has been a lot of work because obviously Christmas is coming and stores have more things to sell, so more writing for me basically. Second goal, I will write vlogmas. And third goal for me is to take a walk every day, because I'm gonna be busy but I really want to prioritize my health. Next section is called focus on. This means more things that I would like to do this month but that are not priorities as the 3 goals are. Here I will write yoga 3 times a week, giving up some kind of workout routine. I don't have any workout goals for this month, but I just want to maintain. Oh my god, we are losing light. Do I need to turn on this light? How does this look? The third section in the monthly reset is plans and things to try. So here I will look at my calendar and see what's coming up this December, and I will write all the important dates so I can just remember all of them. That was Matti coffee again. So I just know like what's coming up, and I don't feel, again, like my mind is an anxious place, and for me it really helps if I can see on paper what's coming up. And also I will write here not something that is already planned, but just some things I would like to try. I want to bake something, and I want to go ice skating again. Obviously I will film it if I go. These are basically just things that you can look forward to. It can be something small again. It doesn't have to be anything big. Lastly, because I'm doing these videos, I have a section for video ideas, or like videos that I'm planning for this month. Obviously, this month is a lot of videos. I'm trying to be a video every day, so I just write a vlogmas. So that is the monthly reset. This really helps me to wrap up the month that has gone and then like focus on the month that is coming. Going clear-headed to the future. Now quickly, before we lose the light completely, the third thing that I do. I don't use this technique often, so prompts. Some use journaling prompts all the time. I find prompts quite limiting, and I only do prompts when I specifically need to clear out something or like figure out something. Okay, so it's getting pitch black. So I will find the prompts that I've written in the past few years and I will list them on the screen if you're interested to get some ideas. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you're enjoying Vlogmas so far. And thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!